They call him the billion-dollar lawyer, a man praised as a magician in the streets, a witch doctor of the courtroom. But Drew Findling's legend wasn't built overnight. His clients, some of the biggest names in rap: Gucci Mane, Migos, Cardi B, NBA YoungBoy, even President Donald Trump. He's been the calm in their chaos, turning high-profile legal battles into courtroom victories. But what happens when the stakes rise even higher? When the lawyer who defends the star steps into a case that could make or break his untouchable reputation? When rapper Lil Durk found himself at the center of a federal murder-for-hire case, the odds seemed stacked against him. The accusations, severe. The spotlight, blazing hot. But there's one thing that has everyone talking. Durk has called in Drew Findling, the lawyer with a reputation for turning impossible cases into courtroom triumphs. From defending rap icons to standing firm in legal storms no one else would dare enter. Findling has built a legacy on delivering the unexpected. And now, all eyes were watching. Because if anyone can turn a tide for Lil Durk, it's him. The ironic part is, Findling is the lawyer of Durk's arch enemy, NBA YoungBoy. YB is the reason Durk is wrapped up in this, due to the feud between YoungBoy and King Von, which led to the shooting death of King Von. Findling has an extensive history representing prominent Atlanta rappers who have praised him as a quote-unquote witch doctor, a magician, and a god in the streets. The New York Times reported in a 2018 profile of Findling, who proudly cites in his Instagram bio, the billion-dollar lawyer. The nickname was given to him by the late rapper, Young Dolph. He has represented the Migos, Gucci Mane, Waka Flocka Flame, Offset, The Baby, and perhaps most notably, Cardi B and NBA YoungBoy. Findley represented Gucci Mane near the rapper's drug-riddled rock bottom in 2013 and helped to negotiate the federal plea deal for a possession of a firearm by a felon that put a stop to his downward spiral. Mr. Findling later secured Gucci Mane's early release from prison after 3 years, leading to the rapper's magnificent rebirth and best-selling autobiography.
New developments today involving a Georgia rapper arrested for an alleged assault. Gucci Mane is in the Fulton County Jail this afternoon after a judge denied bond for him today. Channel 2's Wendy Corona is here live with how he ended up in jail this time and why he's now staying there. Wendy?
Well, Gucci Mane, real name Roderick Davis, was denied bond on 2 felony aggravated assault charges, not just because of what he allegedly did, but because of his past. Roderick Davis stood handcuffed in court this morning, his attorney Drew Findling by his side. After the hearing, after bond was denied and Davis stayed in custody of the Fulton County Jail, Findling spoke for his client.
Mr. Davis has a history. You know, we're not going to skirt that issue, and that history made it difficult for him to get bond today. But that battle's not over yet. We will continue to seek bond.
Mr. Davis, you are charged with 2 felony offenses.
2 charges of felony aggravated assault stemming from a March 16th incident at Harlem Nights in downtown Atlanta. A soldier from Kentucky celebrating his birthday claims he asked Davis for a picture in the VIP area when he says the rapper smashed a champagne bottle over his head. The victim was taken to Grady and received 10 stitches. Davis's attorney is concerned that since the alleged incident, the state's investigation has not turned up witnesses.
The police said we are unable to identify any additional witnesses. We have now talked to a half a dozen witnesses who all say, from their perspective, sure, there was a melee that broke out, but nowhere in that melee did they say Roderick Davis hit anybody with a bottle.
Another man who claims Davis punched him 2 days later in Philadelphia spoke to Channel 2 Action News over the phone.
You just don't go around hitting your fans.
Davis's next court date is set for April 10th at 9 a.m., and his attorney says he will continue to seek bond for Davis.
He also assisted the Migos at a key moment in the group's ascent, advocating for Offset, who had a prior felony conviction after the trio was arrested on marijuana and weapons possession charges at a Deep South college show. The charges were eventually dropped. Mr. Findley earned an acquittal for Waka Flocka Flame, arguing that the rapper had brought a gun to an airport only because he'd accidentally grabbed his girlfriend's matching bag. The jury decided in the rapper's favor after less than half an hour.
Well, new at 5, a well-known Atlanta rapper is behind bars tonight, arrested after an incident at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
Fox 5's Patty Pan is live at APD headquarters with the very latest. And Patty, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, Atlanta police have just confirmed that they did arrest Jaquin Malphurs, also known as Waka Flocka Flame, this morning, all because of a handgun. Now, it happened around 11:30 at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where the 28-year-old was going through a security checkpoint. Authorities say while screening his baggage, they found a loaded handgun in his carry-on. He did not have a weapons permit, according to them, and was arrested.
He didn't have a carry conceal permit. I mean, if you're licensed to carry concealed weapon in the state of Georgia, and if you make it that far, the checkpoint, there are some allowances for that. He does not have one of those permits.
Now, again, he has been charged with carrying a weapon in a prohibited area, which is a misdemeanor, but I've been told that all depends on his previous history, run-ins with the law, and if he's had other convictions. Now, tonight he is being held at the Clayton County Jail.
He has represented Cardi B in her Las Vegas mic throwing case that was recently dropped. He also represented her when she pleaded guilty to 2 assault charges stemming from a 2018 strip club fight that were reduced from felonies to misdemeanors.
It was textbook Cardi B, dressed from head to toe in black feathers as she headed into Queens criminal court. Her attorney saying right now she's on cloud 9.
She has a Grammy nomination. She is traveling the world. She is going to Africa, performed in Nigeria, doing incredible commercials.
But it was back down to earth once in front of the judge, the 27-year-old, here for alleged role in brawls inside a strip club in August. The alleged beatdowns reportedly payback after the rapper accused a bartender of having an affair with her husband. Officials say Cardi B, using social media, helped plan one of the assaults with 2 others and then took part in another, throwing bottles, chairs, drinks, and hookah pipes at the alleged victims. But today in court, the megastar's attorneys raised a red flag after Instagram and Facebook denied their subpoenas for material on the alleged victims' phones. Posts they maintain will call all the allegations into question. A judge told both sides to work it out.
All we're asking for is a level playing field. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If the DA has access to certain kind of evidence, we want the same access to that kind of evidence.
Cardi B rejected a no-jail plea deal and now faces felony assault charges. The next court date is in January. Cardi doesn't have to appear.
Drew Findling represented YFN Luchi during his RICO case. YFN Luchi was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 10 on probation after being indicted on racketeering charges in 2021.
Here, an Atlanta rapper, among a dozen others, indicted on racketeering charges as part of a massive gang crackdown. And that is our top story. Police say the charges are all related to the Bloods gang activity spanning over a decade. Joe Ripley live in Atlanta for us this morning. And Joe, YFN Luchi is the big name here. Walk us through the allegations.
Oh yeah, known among several radio stations, DJs, concert goers around the Atlanta area. Rayshawn Bennett, who goes by the stage name YFN Luchi, was out on bond in connection with the shooting death of a man here in Atlanta back in December, and now he will be ordered back to jail as part of the gang sting. The GBI formed a gang task force in 2019 focused on prosecuting gang members under state anti-gang laws. So that actually helped the Fulton County District Attorney's Office land this indictment. 75 pages, 105 counts in total, all against 12 men allegedly associated with the Bloods gang in Atlanta and Miami. The indictment shows organized criminal activity dating back to 2010. Rayshawn Bennett's name comes up in February of 2020 when he appears to throw up gang signs and use certain lyrics in a music video called Shine On.
She did a RICO indictment, and this is something that is unusual. The indictment ranges from murder all the way down to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
As of 2019, the GBI reported 70,000 gang members here in the state of Georgia. 11 Alive has reached out to the Fulton County DA's office. They were not available for comment. We've also reached out to Rayshawn Bennett's attorney, but have not heard back yet.
Per the terms of his plea deal, he became eligible for parole sometime in the summer after time served and good behavior. However, it's unclear whether he was truly released, as he's kept a low profile since that news.
Well, let's talk about this. YFN Luchi has accepted a plea deal in a RICO case that predates that YSL case. The rapper, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty to one count of violation of the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. He is one of a dozen men indicted on racketeering and RICO charges back in 2021. The group's charges are related to alleged involvement with the Bloods Street Gang. According to court documents, prosecutors could write a letter to the parole board recommending release when eligible. Records show that he has been in jail for nearly 3 years.
This year, it was finally announced that before the trial, he'd actually taken a plea deal. Tell me the details of this plea deal, because it was very different than what I've ever heard before.
Yeah, so let me be really clear, and this is one thing I wanted. It was not before trial. We were in the third week of trial.
Ah, okay, my mistake.
Yeah, and so we had teed it up. In December, before trial, there were 11 people in the case. 8 people pled out before trial. We did not. We said no to everything. And so we began, the trial was projected to last, after jury selection, 3 months. The court decided, given the length of the case and the number of witnesses, that they were going to change it to Monday through Wednesday evidence, which obviously would have extended it well past 3 months, but give jurors the opportunity to get to work, give the lawyers the opportunity. And so we probably, I think, would have gone 5 or 6 months. We were in our third week of jury selection when the case came to a sudden, dramatic end. I can't really give you the behind the scenes, but I can tell you that we were stubborn from the very beginning on what was acceptable to us and what was not acceptable to us. And first and foremost was we wanted nothing to do with the death of Mr. Adams on December 10th of 2020, because there was no responsibility, in our opinion, for Luchi, and Luchi would never say that it had, because he shouldn't have. And so we were pretty stubborn about that. These other folks that pled out in December were pleading out to like 10, 11, 12 charges. And we said from the beginning, we're not doing that. We'll take one charge to get him out. And you'd have to study the nuances. There's no guarantees, by the way, but at least on the parole guidelines, if it's being associated, not a gang member, but associated, then it's kind of low on the guidelines. And he'd already sat for 3 years. And so the third of 10 years would be pretty good for him.
YoungBoy's guilty plea comes after defense attorney Drew Findling submits all the required legal documents on the rapper's behalf. The gun case was approved and moved to Utah, according to the docs, which is where YB is facing multiple criminal charges in both Utah's Cache County and Weber County related to a prescription pill fraud scheme.
Rapper NBA YoungBoy is out of the Cache County jail on a $100,000 bond. The 24-year-old, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, is facing dozens of charges accusing him of being involved in a large-scale prescription drug fraud ring. Now, he'd been held in jail for almost a month since his arrest. YoungBoy agreed to waive a preliminary hearing to get a chance to make bail. His arraignment is set for July 1st, where they're expecting him to enter a plea deal.
Findling defended Trump against the indictment that charges him with racketeering and 12 other felony counts related to his efforts to append the 2020 presidential election results in the state, calling the case quote-unquote flawed and unconstitutional. In a joint statement with 2 other lawyers representing Trump in the case, Jennifer Little and Marissa Goldberg.
Former president has also hired an Atlanta lawyer to help him navigate through Fulton County's probe into Georgia's 2020 election results.
It is going to be an issue that will be aggressively pursued in an appeal to the 11th Circuit. That
you can rest assured.
Drew Findling has taken on some of our area's most high-profile cases, including representing suspended Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill and ex-Atlanta City employee Mitzi Bitkers. But he has not always been a public supporter of Donald Trump. In the past, he's taken to Twitter calling the former president racist and criticized Trump's 2017 firing of a U.S. attorney, saying at the time it was a sign of fear to investigate the stench hovering over the then president. On Twitter, Findling calls himself the billion-dollar lawyer and has represented an array of rap stars, including Cardi B, Gucci Mane, and Migos. And he's also a past president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers.
This brings us to you working with Trump. Now, Trump has a case, a RICO case in Georgia. And from what I always heard was the YSL case was almost like a training ground for the Donald Trump case, which is what Fonnie Willis really wants. Now, before, you had actually criticized Trump. When he had made comments about LeBron, you went on Twitter and you called him a racist, you called him pathetic, and so forth. How did you end up actually becoming his lawyer?
So I'm going to kind of generalize in that discussion because you could see I've stayed clear of that for purposes. It's an ongoing case, and I'm not going to interfere with it. I'll just, for consistency's sake, Vlad, say this. I'm a criminal defense lawyer's criminal defense lawyer. I believe in this process. And I say long before that case that as criminal defense lawyers, to do this the right way, I don't believe in criminal defense lawyers that say like, oh, I don't do this kind of case. I don't do that kind of case. That's not the way I operate. When we take a case, we don't see the color of your skin. We don't see your sexual orientation. We don't see your gender, your ethnicity, and we certainly don't see your political leanings one way or the other. We just take a case.
Rapper Lil Durk has hired prominent attorney Drew Findling to represent him in a federal murder-for-hire case, and 50 Cent believes this is a great idea. On November 14, 2024, Lil Durk pleaded not guilty to charges accusing him of orchestrating a plot against rival rapper Quando Rondo. The case has gained significant attention due to the serious nature of the allegations and Findling's high-profile legal career. The pressure is mounting, the tension rising, and Drew Findling finds himself at the heart of a legal storm like no other. But who's really in control? The magician or the chaos itself? All right, y'all, there y'all have it. It's another one. What you think about Dirk, man? I don't know, man. He might be able to wiggle out of this one, no diddy. But hey, get in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. You already know what it is. Drillers and trappers. We out here trapping and drilling. 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!